What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. The last preview prediction video I'm going to upload here for Week 5. We're going to go to the ACC. We got a matchup here in Syracuse, New York that has really piqued my interest. It's the Clemson Tigers going on the road in the Dome to face the Syracuse Orange, the undefeated Syracuse Orange, might I add. We're going to dive into this one here in just a little bit. Some business I got to take care of first is thanking you guys so much for the support the channel has seen as of late. If you want to continue to show your support for the channel, hey, by all means, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you know when videos get uploaded. But hey, there are more ways than that to help me support this channel. You guys are doing one of them right now just by watching this video, and you guys can gladly do more by liking, commenting, sharing, and anything else you guys are willing and or able to do to help me support this channel. Whatever you guys are able to do would mean a lot to me. But with all of that out of the way, let's dive in to a pretty intriguing matchup here out of Week 5. It's going to be a noon game. We'll tell you where to watch it here in just a little bit towards the end of the video. But the Clemson Tigers are maybe two fumbles and an extra or 2 fumbles and a 27-yard field goal, or however long the field goal was there against Florida State, to being 4-0, maybe being top 5, and being in the conversation for a spot in the college football playoff. Since some bounces of the balls have not gone their way, the Clemson is sitting here at 2-2, kind of with a lot of the championship pressure off of them, right? Meanwhile, for the Syracuse Orange, it's been a different story. They've been undefeated up to this point and have played a really good brand of football, but this will be by far their biggest test on the young season. Let's dive into the stats here. We start with the road team. That's the Clemson Tigers in this matchup, and the offense definitely had a lot of question marks entering this season. But you know what? Besides that first game there against Duke, and maybe for that first half there against Charleston Southern, Clemson was really able to turn it on, and they were really able to get going, and this offense has improved, and it will continue to do so this season. Cade Klubnik has 976 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks on 66% completion percentage. Not a bad stat line from him at all. You got a dynamic duo of running backs in this running back room. Will Shipley and Phil Maffa are both averaging over 5 yards per carry. Cade Klubnik has shown here and there that he can rush the ball, only averaging 2 yards per carry, but does have a couple of rushing touchdowns there as well. And the offensive line is doing a pretty solid job at limiting pressure. The one thing that Clemson has still got to be able to get under wraps, and the one thing that they still got to be able to fix, is the fumbling problem. It really, really hurt them in that game there against Duke, and then there have been some plays in other games. I think there was even one there in the Florida State game that really changed the momentum, and that really kind of had Clemson digging their own hole, digging their own grave a little bit there. So clean up the turnovers, especially the fumbles, and this Clemson offense will just continue to improve. Meanwhile, defensively for the Clemson Tigers, I don't have to speak too much on their defense because we kind of know what they're made of, right? However, the one thing I will say about Clemson's defense is they have just a ton of talent all around this defense, and that's still one of the better defensive units talent-wise that the country has. However, the secondary definitely can improve in some different ways. They really did get beat bad by guys like Riley Leonard, and most recently guys like Jordan Travis there as well. But the rush defense has been fantastic. They're really, really good on third down. The offense is turning the football over, yes, but the defense is also forcing opponents to turn the football over. The one thing with Clemson's defense that honestly I'm kind of shocked about is talent-wise, this is probably one of the best defensive fronts in the entire country. However, the pass rush has not necessarily been there in full, right? They only have 6 sacks on the year, only 1.5 sacks per game, which I think is a very surprising number to a lot of people, considering the talent that Clemson has on this defense. However, keep up what Clemson is doing defensively. I think they're going to be just fine throughout the season, but this is a very big offensive test here because Syracuse is averaging over 40 points per game, over 500 yards per game, and they're getting it done any way you need them to. They're getting it done on the ground with guys like Garrett Schrader, who's also their quarterback. More on him in a minute. LaQuint Allen is rushing really, really well. 62 carries, 311 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But back to Garrett Schrader. He's getting things done through the air as well. 972 yards, 6 touchdowns. The 3 interceptions definitely can be cleaned up. But again, he's also this team's leading rusher, 316 yards, and also 6 touchdowns for him. There's a ton of talent here in the wide receiver room, specifically with Damian Alford, Donovan Brown, and then Umari Hatcher. All 3 of those guys have over 200 yards receiving. And then another guy in Isaiah Jones has 157 yards receiving on only 8 catches. It's a great offense on third down, but they need to start limiting pressure to the quarterback. And that's really going to hurt them here in this game if they can't get that figured out. And I know the Clemson pass rush has not been superb yet, but there are enough guys on that side of the ball to be able to hurt the Syracuse offensive line that has not been that sharp so far throughout this season. Meanwhile, defensively for the Syracuse Orange, I mean, you go ahead and take a look at those stats right there. They're generating turnovers, 10 of them on the season. They're generating sacks, 13 of them on the season. They're a pretty solid third down defense. They're not allowing teams to score. The rush defense has been really, really good. However, this is going to be a really nice test for the Syracuse defensive front, and they haven't really faced anybody super notable yet. Like, yes, they have beaten Purdue. However, there really hasn't been a much bigger test on the schedule than that. Clemson is going to be by far and away the best team that Syracuse will face here so far this season, and the defense is really going to have to step up. I know that Clemson's offense has been criticized and has its very, very harsh critics, but look at those numbers, man. 36 points per game, 474 yards per game. This defense is going to have its hands full, that's for sure. It leads me into my what to watch for keys to the game. I am noticing a typo as I have come up here. The C in Schrader should be taken out, so apologies for that typo. But I just thought I'd mention that. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into these keys for the game. We are starting out with the road team there, the Clemson Tigers. The offense, almost knocked my microphone over. The offense has really started to find its stride. As I've talked about, yes, the Duke game was rough. And yes, this is an offense that still has trouble at times holding on to the football. It's an offense that at times has its troubles with fumbles. But this offense is only going to continue to improve, guys, as Garrett Riley gets in the system, as Cade Klubnik, Will Shipley, Phil Maffa, and a lot of these wide receivers, Bo Collins, and others get into the system. The offense is going to continue to put up more and more impressive numbers, and I think Cade Klubnik is going to have himself a really, really good game here in this one. The offense has enough playmakers, especially in the backfield and with Cade Klubnik at quarterback, to make this Syracuse defense worry. We'll talk more about that later. Let's move over to the Clemson defense, which I think clearly has the advantage in this game when you compare to who has the advantage when Syracuse's offense has the ball. And I'm going to give it to the Clemson defense. Look, I know it has not been great at times this season. However, there are too many playmakers on that side of the ball, and this is by far the biggest test that Syracuse has faced so far this season. I think the defense, while the pass rush hasn't been there, is going to be able to create pressure into the backfield to Garrett Schrader and this committee of running backs that Syracuse has here. Or excuse me, I should say the one running back there in LaQuint Allen. Sometimes you'll see guys like Ike Daniels and Jawan Price get the ball there as well, but it's mainly Allen that ends up doing the rushing for this team. Clemson will be able to create pressure, but they also have to capitalize on every opportunity they have. And maybe not every opportunity, but limit turnovers, score points, stop Syracuse, force some turnovers, and Clemson will be able to be just fine. Syracuse, on the other hand, Schrader and company have been electric so far. They're getting it done on the ground. They're getting it done through the air. They have to be here. This is one of the best defenses in the country in terms of talent. And I know that at times it has really, really struggled this year, but Schrader and company are going to have to be dynamic, and there are going to have to be a couple big plays made. They're going to have to, Schrader's going to have to fit some throws into some tight windows. Allen and some of these other running backs that we may see here in this game are going to have to find those holes. The offensive line has to be really, really good, and especially the protection up front when Schrader drops back to pass. Yes, this Clemson pass rush has not been phenomenal so far this season, especially at bringing the quarterback down. But there are enough guys in the defensive line and linebacking room that can create pressure, that will create pressure, and will make life really hard for the Syracuse offensive line that, again, has allowed double-digit sacks so far this season. My one question for Syracuse, though, and it's what is helping me lean towards the Clemson Tigers: can the pass defense stand up? Cade Klubnik and company have really been able to get it going through the air. Syracuse has not been tested through the air so far, and the way that it has been tested, it has not looked the best, right? There's definitely a lot of cause for concern within that secondary, within the pass defense. It's why Vegas likes Clemson. I was surprised to find the FPI from ESPN ends up liking Syracuse here in this game. Clemson is just a couple plays away from being 4-0. Again, they're not. They're 2-2. Welcome to college football. But Clemson is just going to be too physical defensively. Syracuse will have its moments, and the Dome has not been kind to Clemson in the past. But Cade Klubnik and the offense will make enough plays. This defense will force a turnover or two, winning that turnover battle, and the Tigers will walk away with a win here, handing Syracuse their first loss on the season. That's my take on it. Noon game on ABC should be a lot of fun. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And hey, as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. See you guys in the next video. Goodbye.